If you don't feel peace in your life, you're probably living in masculine energy. Women are not meant to live the same way as men, and I wanted to make a podcast episode on this because, genuinely speaking, I've been down the route of trying to be productive and motivated all the time from a masculine standpoint, and I want to share how feminine energy can help you become more productive, more creative, more motivated, because so often we have women who think that they need to approach life from a masculine mindset in order to get things done and make a big impact on the world. But it actually isn't until you tap into feminine energy that you can really do that, and do that all while avoiding burnout. There's so many women who live in such a masculine way where they feel like they have to do everything all the time. They feel like they have to work all the time. They're always trying to force the right outcome. They're trying to, grind their way into having their wishes come true. But that is a very masculine way of life, and there's nothing wrong with masculine energy. It's very important in this world. Men are so wonderful, and they do so many amazing things for our society. But as women, it's so harmful when we start living in masculine energy all the time. Now, masculine energy does have its uses as a woman. Sometimes you do need to grind through, a night of studying or something along those lines. But for the most part, when we live in masculine energy all the time, we completely drain ourselves and we become burnt out so easily. If you become burnt out and you can't seem to stick with the things that you want to do, you might want to think about if you're living from masculine energy or feminine energy. Because as a female, when you naturally go towards your feminine energy and you live in that mindset, you are naturally recharging yourself and replenishing your energy. You naturally feel more creative, more confident, more motivated. But living from masculine energy as a female is like trying to swim up the current of life. It's a lot more difficult to get where you want to go, but you could get where you want to go so much easier if you just went with the current, and you'd get there a lot faster. So I want to talk about how you can become more feminine, how you can incorporate feminine energy into your life to have better productivity, motivation, more meaningful relationships, even just, more confidence and more inner peace. Because I will tell you, I used to be hyper-masculine. I've always been very productive. I've always been very goal-oriented. I've always accomplished a lot ever since middle school. Actually, even elementary school. I won the school spelling bee, then middle school, I was I think I did the spelling bee again. I won a lot of awards in all of my classes. I've always been a very goal-oriented person. But it wasn't until this past year that I started to do that from a feminine energy, and it changed everything for me. I will tell you, up until this past year when I learned to be productive from a feminine mindset, I was struggling with burnout and misery all the time. It felt like, I would have these amazing accomplishments, but one, it felt like I had to work so incredibly hard to get to every accomplishment, and it really drained me. I felt burnt out all the time. Sometimes I'd even cry because I just felt like there was just so much to do, and it was I just felt like I had this lone wolf mentality, which is a very masculine thing. I thought that I had to do everything on my own. I kind of isolated myself. I tried to grind out everything in life. I often took the hard way even when it wasn't necessary. And, the hard way is good for growth, but I mean just completely unnecessary, struggle I put myself through. For example, if I wanted to eat healthy, I'd do it in a super restrictive way where I couldn't enjoy life at all, and I'd end up regressing back and then eating worse than before. Everything I did was just so all or nothing. It was so extreme. I felt burnt out. I felt miserable. And now I accomplished actually more than I ever have accomplished in my life. Yet I'm so much happier while accomplishing all of that because I've learned how to do it with feminine energy. It is the greatest gift that we have as women, the fact that we naturally channel feminine energy. But so many people don't even know how to use it, or they don't know that they even actually have it. So I want to help you reincorporate feminine energy into your life because it is genuinely like a superpower. It's like magic when you apply it to your life. And so I've written actually a very long list of ways that you can apply it in your life. Let's just get right into it. So, yeah, firstly, I need to say women are not meant to function the same way as men. And this is why this is so important. This is based in science. Men operate on a 24-hour hormonal cycle. Women operate on a 28-day hormonal cycle. Men have like energy levels that stay relatively high most of the time, but as women, because of our levels of estrogen, they change throughout the month. So you're not always going to feel like you're on top of the world. And that has so many implications for productivity, because if you try to grind through everything in life all the time like a man does, if you try to constantly work like 24/7 and have no differentiation in your routines, you will be burnt out because your body is not meant to function that way as a woman. Like, you're meant to have, like, let's say the first week of your cycle, you're meant to do things a little differently, like routine wise, than you are like in, let's say, like the last 7 days of your cycle. Like, because your energy levels are different. So the key to this is, like with feminine energy, you're working with yourself, not against yourself. You're not trying to resist your natural tendencies and brute force productivity. You're working with your natural tendencies to naturally allow productivity, motivation, love, all of that to flow from you. So the important thing to notice is that femininity, contrary to popular belief, I want to go ahead and say this, femininity is not being docile and it's not sitting around. A lot of people, when you say femininity, they think of like light pink. They think of like, very soft, frilly things. They think of like a very gentle lifestyle, which is all good. They think of women who are just very like kind of timid, kind of shy. And that's just not the truth. A lot of people also think that when you say that you want to be a more feminine woman, that means that you want to give up all control in your life and let men just completely like make all the decisions for you. Well, I do believe like when you find a masculine man and you fall in love and you get married, absolutely. I think that men are great at leadership. And like, if I was married to a man, like, I would have to respect him a lot to be married to him. And I think that in those cases, like, yes, it's a blessing to be able to be led by a godly man who has more wisdom than you. So that is good. But femininity does not imply that you are completely giving up your power or just sitting around somehow and kind of like taking whatever life throws at you. It's not like that. Femininity is actually very powerful. Like, it's not just this energy of just being very timid and shy and keeping to yourself. Femininity is something very powerful and confident and bold. I mean, yes, it can be gentle and soft and beautiful in that way, but it can also be like the opposite. It can also be very powerful. And I think that this misconception is the reason why so many women are afraid of like leaning into a feminine lifestyle, because there is a huge difference between powerful femininity to get stuff done and masculinity. Even though it may seem like they're very similar, there's a definite difference. And so it's just so important that people understand femininity is power. It's not like a weakness. It's not being docile. I read a book. It's called Warrior Goddess Training. And I was at first very thrown off by the title. It sounded a little bit like just different from what I would normally read. But for some reason, something compelled me to read it. And it actually did a really good job, though I didn't agree with everything in the book. It did a really good job, like talking about how powerful feminine energy can be and how you can channel it to seriously like change your life in many ways. So I have a lot of insights from the book, but also just from my personal experience to share. So as I've said, when you channel feminine energy, firstly, you will have more motivation and energy to get things done. With creativity, what you create will be more resonant with others. So when you create from a masculine energy as a woman, you're not working with your natural instincts. So what you create, it doesn't really sit with people as well. It doesn't connect as well. Feminine energy is the key to making stuff that connects with people. Your relationships will become deeper and more meaningful with feminine energy because a big part of femininity is being vulnerable and loving. That deepens every relationship. And you will feel genuinely at peace because I will talk a lot in this episode about the energy of surrender. And oh my gosh, that just changed my life completely. So this is a very important part. Let's first talk about signs that you are not in your feminine energy. So if you relate to anything on this list, then there's a good sign that you're operating from masculine energy. And these are a lot of things that I struggled with back when I was operating in like complete masculine energy and had no idea. So 1, you might be forcing outcomes in your daily life. So let's say you want to get into a specific college or get a specific job. You think that's the only way you can be happy. You're like dead set on making it happen. You get upset when things don't go the way you plan. Number 2, you're chasing people. So this is very different from showing people love. Chasing people is you're not trying to love people. You want them to love you. That's the difference. You're trying to force people to like you and show you love. You're trying to force those people into your life when God may not want them in your life. 3, this ties to that. Trying to control what people think of you. So again, it's manipulative energy. It's controlling energy. You're trying to force a certain outcome. Number 4, being hyper independent and not letting anyone help you. For example, you're opening your own doors. Even when a guy offers to open your car door for you, you say, no, I got it. Or you're carrying a heavy box and you need help, but you don't ask for help, and instead you just carry the whole thing by yourself when there's like a man nearby who could help you. 4, wanting specific outcomes all the time instead of letting God surprise you. This is kind of similar to the first one. So you're basically not letting God control the process. Number 5, living by ego and holding back love from people to look like you have a social upper hand. This is one of the biggest ones ever. This basically means like if you play games when you're texting or talking to a guy, if you play games with people at all, like Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power, that kind of thing, that is not feminine energy. That is like deeply masculine energy. And it is just, it's not good for women. It doesn't make us feel good. I will go ahead and say, like, it is our natural tendency to love people and to be genuine and vulnerable and emotional. When you try to manipulate that into, playing a social game with people to, let's not double text. I don't want to come off as needy. Let me wait 5 hours before I respond. That is very manipulative, controlling energy. That's not surrendered energy. And as a result, it's so hard to feel peaceful when you're living that way. So I'll talk a lot more about that. I think this would be number 6, not taking any time for relaxation or hobbies that you enjoy. So this is just really bad for the spirit. I'll talk more about why and how you can fix that. Number 7, cutting your sleep schedule. This is something men do a lot. You'll notice like a lot of male entrepreneurs, they'll cut their sleep down to 4 hours. We think we can get away with it. We can't. I'll talk more about that later too. And eating highly processed and extreme foods. So like foods that are just complete garbage. And this means both like you're eating highly processed foods or you're also eating in a really extreme way. So even fasting is not as good for women all the time as it is for men. Men can fast pretty much 24/7. And by that I mean like every day. Women actually, there's specific times of the month when it's better to fast and better to not fast. And this also applies to your diet. If you're eating in an incredibly restrictive way, this can also be really bad. So here's how to fix each one. So here are the ways that you can incorporate feminine energy into your life. Now, number 1, I said a sign of not being feminine is that you're forcing outcomes in your daily life. You're not allowing God to control things. You have to surrender to the outcome. Feminine energy is the energy of receptivity. So, like, feminine energy means that you're okay with receiving. You don't have to always be the one like trying to chase after things. You just let things come to you. And think about this from a biological standpoint. In every single way, this is the way that God designed us. In nature, it's usually the males that chase for a female to try to find a mate when you're looking at like biology and different animals. Just like even the way our bodies are designed, like it's the female who receives. And I think that so often nowadays, because feminism is a big thing, we kind of actually put females at a disadvantage because we're telling women that you should like be really bold and make moves after men, chase after men. I've even seen women proposing. And you know what? I think it's like, okay, I have mixed feelings on it. I think it's okay to like, start a conversation with a guy, but asking guys for dates or like making big moves like that or proposing to a guy, I don't think that's the kind of treatment that women deserve. Women are meant to be chased and pursued, and women are meant to receive in life. Men have testosterone. It is in the male nature. Like, literally, naturally, men want to chase. They want to pursue. They want to provide for a woman. And so, as a woman, you don't have as much testosterone, so you don't need to play the game of trying to chase people because it's just not in your biology. Like, it's not a natural tendency that we have. So you don't need to chase, and you can be okay with letting things come to you. That's how you become more feminine. And I know it's hard because sometimes we like guys or we want specific outcomes in our life, and we think that we have to brute force it. But we have to be okay with surrender. And this is, as I said, biologically speaking, it's just what's most natural and comfortable for us because of our hormones. But also, like, biblically speaking, like, it says in the Bible that a man is supposed to search for a good woman. He is supposed to find a wife. It does not say that the wife finds the husband finds the wife. The husband pursues. And so in the Bible, we also learn that we need to surrender the outcome of things to God. You have to be okay with trusting. Trusting is a very feminine thing. Like, you have to trust God, and you have to know that you don't have to get your way. Yes, you can pray passionately, and you can ask God for things, but you have to be okay if they don't come through, because as a feminine woman, you trust that the right things will come to you. I actually ran out of storage, so I'm like starting this over. So as I was saying, you have to trust that things will happen in God's will. You have to be okay if you don't get the outcome that you want in life, because honestly, we know that we're divinely made and we're divinely protected. And it's very feminine to understand that and to have complete faith as you walk through life knowing that things are taken care of for you. So the next thing, feminine energy is walking by God's word. And when you study the Bible regularly, it's impossible to not feel inner peace because you just have such a strong sense of faith and the fact that everything is going to work out. Like, God did promise you a good life if you live morally and just have faith in him. All he asks for is just faith and just, trusting that his word is the right way to live. So you walk with an air of power and confidence because you know that you're beautifully made and divinely protected. So the next thing, I said, hyper-independence is a sign that you're not living in feminine energy. And so to fix this, let people take care of you, especially men, because men want to take care of you. As I said, men produce testosterone. It's literally in their biological nature to want to pursue a woman and take good care of her. Men naturally have like this instinct to protect women that they love, to provide for them, to make sure that they're happy. So let men do that for you. They want to. People generally want to care for you. And this isn't just about men and women. Like, even women want to care for each other. Like, as humans, we just take a lot of joy from making each other feel happy. So people do want to take care of you, and you don't have to do everything on your own as a woman. Like, people can actually help you out. So let them, because it's not just selfish to let them help you, it's actually selfless, because one, you're making the load easier on yourself, which will make you have more energy to pour into your creative pursuits and other things. And two, it just makes people feel good to be able to help you and take care of you. So you're actually doing something good. You're probably making their day when you allow someone to hold a door open for you. And I will say the most important part of this, when you let other people take care of you, tell them thank you, especially men. Like, men like to have appreciation, and if a man goes out of his way to do something for you, like hold open a door or get you something that you like, make sure that they know they're appreciated. Because a lot of masculine men have kind of stopped doing nice things for women because of the lack of appreciation. And, as I will talk about in like a few minutes, part of being feminine, it's our natural nature to love. So when someone does something nice for you, like, show them all the love and appreciation that your heart feels. Don't hold it back. That's how we keep men doing nice things for women, and it makes men so happy whenever they can do something for you and you respond with like genuine appreciation. You don't have to worry about looking cool. Like, just say thank you if you're really grateful for something. So another thing, as I said, you don't have to do everything on your own. And a big part of this means you should find your community. Like, and I don't just mean letting men take care of you. I mean, like, find a community of women who really support you, women who are genuinely, like, supportive, women who make you feel like you're confident, who don't judge. Find people who just really uplift you. That's so important. I used to be a total lone wolf. It was like I isolated myself from everyone, like even people who wanted to get close to me. I guess I had this fear of being judged, and that was the issue. I was very masculine because I was trying to control what people thought of me. I worried about being judged. But when I became more authentic and feminine and really tapped into who I am, like, it became so much easier to find community. And actually, I value like community, like a genuine sisterhood more than anything. Because when women like group together and take care of each other, like, it's incredibly powerful to have that support system. And another thing I will say, when I was hyper masculine, I did have a lot of male friends. And I will admit, like, I think at the time I thought that it was like, it kind of healed me in a way, because I was like, okay, well, I had an experience growing up where my brother was just not very nice to me, and I was homeschooled, so he was like the only guy I could talk to. And so growing up, my dad was always at work, so it was just like my brother was my only like way of interacting with like males. So my first experiences with males were rejection all throughout my childhood, because my brother like just never wanted to hang out with me for whatever reason. And so I always felt like, I kind of needed to overcompensate by, instead of having female friends, having male friends, because it made me feel like, oh, so I can get along with males, I can have friendships with males. And a lot of people, my situation is kind of weird, but a lot of people have that same situation, like that same need for male validation caused by an issue with their father instead of their brother. Like, if you have a father growing up who doesn't treat you very well, that can really cause you to kind of overcompensate by seeking male friendship, or even like just dating a lot of men as a way to kind of fill the void of your childhood. And I will say that is very damaging. And it wasn't until I found genuine female friendship that I realized, like, wow, you just kind of need feminine friendships, because like with guy friends, all of our conversations were just like relatively shallow. It was like I couldn't be emotional around them at all. I had to kind of like play it cool all the time, and I couldn't really, like, if something was really weighing heavily on me, I couldn't really, like, talk about it the way that I wanted to, because men just generally, like, unless you're dating, like, it's just not normal to dump all your emotions on, like, a guy friend. So I felt like when I found genuine feminine community, it changed a lot for me. And so if you feel like you struggle with needing male validation, like, do some inner work and figure out what it is that's causing that. Because when I had the realization that it was my childhood experiences with my brother that was causing this need for me to have male validation, that's when I could actually turn it around and, like, actually fix what was going on. And now, like, I don't naturally gravitate towards male friendships. When I gravitated towards male friendship before, I wasn't even really conscious of the fact that I was doing it. I just noticed one year, I was like, wow, literally all my close friends are guys. You know, these childhood things, like, sometimes you don't even realize how much they're affecting you. And I just didn't even realize, like, until I would say, like, ninth grade, I looked around and I was like, all of my close friends are guys, and it just felt very lonely at times. So if you struggle with something like that, do the inner work and heal. Like, step back into your feminine energy, because it's not in our nature to have lots of male friends. Like, that's just the truth of the matter. Like, when it comes to deep friendship, like, it's so helpful to have other women that you can talk about your emotions with and actually be vulnerable with. And male friendships can be great, but I feel like there's a time and place for it. And male friendships should not be, like, the main, like, source of friendship that you have in your life. It should be like other women. So another huge thing, and this is going to be such a long episode, don't try to control what people think of you. Feminine energy is an energy of surrender, not hyper-control over everything. You're magnetic when you're authentic, and let yourself be everything you want to be. This is so big. So, masculine energy is an energy of control. You are trying to control the outcome. That's a very masculine thing. You're, like, trying to grind things out. You're trying to make things happen quickly. Feminine energy is not about control. It's about receptivity, as I said, surrender. Like, and that doesn't mean you're giving up your power. It just means that you're, like, walking in power, but because you know that things will come to you and the right things will happen. You know that you don't need to force things. You're not trying to always make certain things happen. Like, you have your goals, but you understand that the best things will always happen because of God's will. And so you work hard, but it's not like you're banking your happiness on any one thing. And so you're not banking your happiness on what other people think of you. And this isn't from a mindset of, I don't care about other people, so I don't care what they think of me. This is a dangerous thing. And when I was hypermasculine, this was the way I thought. I had this same mindset of, I don't care what people think of me, but it came from a place of resentment, and it was more so like, you know what, these people have hurt my feelings, so I don't care about them at all. I shouldn't care what they think of me. But now I do it from a place of, like, love and acceptance. It's like everyone is welcome to be their own being, and not everyone is going to like me, and that is completely okay. Like, I'm just happy for everyone if they feel happy. You know, I don't need to try to force someone to like me. I just want them to be happy at the end of the day. And you know what? Even if people laugh at me, like, I've just come to the conclusion. I mean, I actually haven't been, like, mocked at all, so I'm very lucky in that sense. But if someone were to laugh at me, let's say for having a podcast, I wouldn't even feel upset. In fact, I'd probably be happy, because it would make me happy to know that I've brought someone at least a little bit of joy in their day. Like, that's the kind of mindset that you want to look at things from. You don't need to be, like, resentful and bitter, because that's a very, like, controlling masculine energy to have. So for me, being more authentic also included quitting makeup. And so I am wearing a little bit of lip color, but I will say, in October, I decided I just didn't want to wear makeup. It made me feel so, like, unconfident. It felt like I had to have mascara on to feel beautiful. And that's not a good place to be. When you feel like your natural face is not enough, that just drains your feminine energy. When you're feminine, you genuinely look at your natural face in the mirror and you feel beautiful. Just like in everything that you do, you feel so beautiful and divine. And for me, quitting makeup helped me get back to that point. Now, within the past week, I've reintroduced, well, I never really did lip color before, but I started wearing lip color. I'm completely natural other than that. I don't like to wear foundation because I feel like, that cakey, powdery look that people have when they over apply makeup. I feel like foundation, even if it's applied correctly, it still just kind of like cakes over the natural shine and like the natural glow and radiance of a woman's face. So I generally don't do foundation unless it's like a light tinted sunscreen. Mascara, I don't remember the last time I wore mascara, and that's like really a wonderful thing. My natural lashes have actually grown a lot ever since I quit mascara. My natural lashes look so good now because I'm no longer, wiping them so harshly with makeup wipes every night. And the one thing I do somewhat regularly use is a little bit of lip color. I accidentally put on more today than I meant to. But I feel like I like to have lip color because it's something that has been used for a long time. Women used to crush berries to add color to their lips. And I think that it just kind of makes the face look more alive. So personally, that's the one makeup product that I am fine with using because I feel like it doesn't really change the natural features of my face. And the most important thing about it is just do what makes you feel beautiful and divine. And for me, I found that it was important to quit makeup because it helped me realize that I was beautiful and divine as is. When I was wearing like a full face of makeup before, it was that controlling masculine energy again. It was like I was trying to come across a certain way. I was trying to change my appearance to get other people to like me, and that is not feminine energy. Some people do makeup from feminine energy, and that's why some people will say like, I have no issue wearing makeup. It makes me feel confident. It's because they're doing it from this place of like, they don't think there's anything wrong with their face. They're just doing it because they like the creativity of makeup. They just like to express themselves. So it's very different for every person, but my personal experience is that it helped me a lot to quit. Now I'm just fine with like a little bit of lip color. I don't really need anything else. Like I feel naturally beautiful without makeup. So next thing. So as I said, part of being masculine is living by the ego and holding back love from people to look like you have a social upper hand. So like you're playing games with people, especially when you're talking to guys. This is like a huge thing. If you're playing games, you're trying to be hard to get. You're like trying to be perceived a certain way because you think people will like you more that way. Or like, let's say you think that someone's really cool and you want to compliment them, but you don't because you don't want to, like, make them think that you're a quote fan. Like, I hear that a lot. That's not feminine energy. It is in our nature to love. Like, I know personally I was made to love, and, I kind of shoved that part of myself away because my childhood experiences, like, as I said, I always tried to hang out with my brother when I was very little and impressionable, and I always got rejected. So I started to think, oh my gosh, when I make efforts to talk to people, I'm always going to be rejected. Because I was homeschooled. He was the only person I really could talk to because my mom was struggling with a stroke and migraines for most of my childhood. So he really was the only social experience I had. So I shoved that loving part of me away and I started being really shy. And I didn't really tell people how much I cared about them or appreciated them. And a lot of us do have similar experiences that cause us to shut that loving part away. It's like this masculine shell of protection, but that's no way to walk through life. And we feel most at peace when we walk in love. It's just the way that we're meant to be. So Always be a lover girl. And if you're in situations where you are punished or mistreated for showing love, like let's say you're really nice to a guy, but he's taking advantage of your kindness and you can tell he's playing games with you in response, or like you give your heart and soul into talking to a friend about an issue and they're dismissive and they don't give you the same vulnerability. Love yourself enough to leave those situations and find people who do infuse your life with mutual love. You know, being a lover girl isn't about like accepting bad treatment. It all just ties back to love, because you want to maximize the amount of love in your life. So if people aren't loving you the way that you know you deserve to be loved, if you aren't getting the same mutual level of affection and effort back, you cut people off lovingly. Well, actually, you don't even cut them off. You just like, in your mind, move on to new people and you find new friends who will show you that love back. You don't need to angrily cut ties. This is another masculine thing I used to fall in the trap of doing. I thought that if people like weren't nice to me or didn't treat me well, I had to be angry about it. That's a very masculine thing, like being angry and like bitter about things. That's just not good. It's not feminine. So feminine energy is acceptance and love. And this means that you, when you like move on from people and you find more loving situations, you do it from a place of acceptance and you understand that people can do what they want and you still love and accept them even if they don't treat you the best way they could. Because your job is to love everyone as much as you can. Like, never allow anyone to reduce your capacity for love. And, you know, each person walks an individual walk with God. It's not your job to give out the justice. Love people wholeheartedly and let God take care of the justice if justice needs to be given to someone. It's not your job to do that. Like, I walk in love and acceptance of people even if I can tell that they've mistreated me a little bit. Because it's not my place to give out the justice, and why would I spend energy like worrying about that or being bitter towards people when I could just be loving and happy all the time? So you don't hold resentment if your love isn't reciprocated, because you understand that people who don't love fully, people who are mistreating you, are just hurt. Because, as I said, it is a natural human tendency to love. So people who think that it's cringy when you show your emotions, or people who are really just like, you know, guys, when you show them attention and then they like flee, that means that growing up, they probably weren't shown a lot of love by their parents. These people who, you know, just don't react well to love, it's because growing up, they didn't experience a lot of it. So it is weird to them because their whole lives, you know, they haven't experienced open, honest communication. They haven't experienced that much like true, like unconditional love. So yes, to some people, when you love that way, it will be off-putting. You just have to understand and not be offended by it, because they will probably heal one day, but it's kind of pointless to feel like angry at them about it, because usually you should just feel bad at the fact that they've been hurt that badly. So don't be angry at people when things don't go well. Have a pure, beautiful heart. Think good things about everyone. And so your capacity to love drives your feminine energy. This is super important. So if you're in these situations that limit your capability to love or make you want to hold your love back because you're being mistreated or people judge you for being a loving person, as I said, lovingly step back. Next thing, I said when you're over masculine, you basically don't take any time for relaxation or hobbies that you enjoy. Here's how to fix this. This is so bad for the spirit. Women need relaxation and soul-nourishing activities, so take time to start new hobbies. Hobbies are so important because they recharge your soul and creative energy. For men, they have such high levels of energy all the time. It's like they're more capable of working, like doing hard work all the time. But our hormones fluctuate so much. We do need to be recharged. We need a reset. We need hobbies that allow us to regain our energy. And this allows us to actually maximize our output. Because when you're burnt out, you don't get anything done. But if you just work to a certain limit every day and take some time to recharge, you can consistently, have a steady output per day. So hobbies allow you to live more fully and not be burnt out. And with hobbies, you can do what you love. It doesn't have to be a traditionally feminine activity. But I will say feminine hobbies are incredibly nourishing to the average girl. So things like baking, reading, cooking, writing, learning to do hair and nails, and learning instruments are very fulfilling to women because they allow us to create. Another big thing in addition to the energy of surrender and receptivity is creation. Think about it. Females create babies. Women are just meant to create. So creation is something that makes us feel beautiful and at peace. So whenever we're doing things like writing or, creating fictional worlds in our minds when we read, or baking, learning to do our nails, that makes us happy because we get to create and, put our creative energy somewhere. So I even actually picked up figure skating lately. I've been taking figure skating classes, and I used to do it when I was a little girl, but I stopped for some reason, and I love it now. It's so nice to have a hobby to look forward to every week. I go to the rink whenever I have a free chance. Actually, tonight even, there's a skating session, so I'm gonna get my skates and I'm gonna spend my Friday night doing my figure skating tricks at the rink. And it's really nice to have something to look forward to and to pour your heart and soul into, because that is how you recharge. Netflix and TikTok are not how you recharge your energy, but actual hobbies do help you recharge and fall back in love with life. So close to last thing. Women need more rest than men. So as I said, when you cut sleep, that's a very masculine thing. I used to fall into that trap. As I said, men have a 24-hour hormone cycle, so they can get away with it. Their hormones are a lot more steady. But we need more rest. Our bodies do incredible things every month. It just takes a lot of upkeep to, stay beautiful and energetic and have this creative energy. So we do need to sleep. I think we do need to sleep a little bit more than men, actually. So getting a good 7 hours of sleep at least and having a cozy nighttime routine is also crucial to recharging your feminine energy. Sleep is number one. Routine is also amazing. What I like to do is when I shower, I listen to an audiobook on my phone at night, and I actually only use candlelight at night nowadays because artificial light, it's just so harsh, and I don't think it's good for the circadian rhythm, and candles are so much more cozy. So I literally walk around with a candle to light my path at night before I go to bed. I read with my little candle, and then I go to bed. And so that's really cozy. It recharges my feminine energy. Now, I also mentioned food as a masculine thing. If you're dieting in a really extreme way, like fasting, or you're eating processed foods, that's masculine. And when I do say masculine, I don't mean the good kind of masculine, because I have noticed that I've said a lot of bad things are masculine, but I'm talking about just the not good kind of masculine energy, because good masculine energy, I do want to say, the divine masculine energy does not include anything like extreme dieting or anything like that. It's very confident, grounded, powerful energy, just as feminine energy is. But anyway, so part of rest includes eating foods that charge your body. So Corinthians actually says that you should treat your body like a temple. So you wouldn't fill a temple with garbage. So you should treat your body well. And feminine energy means that you see your body as something beautiful and divine. And so you eat nourishing foods that make your body feel pure and good, because you're focusing on really loving your body. Feminine energy is the energy of love. So feminine energy is intense love for ourselves and others, and intense love for ourselves means caring for our body and giving it the nutrients and vitamins that it needs to function well. So eating fruits and vegetables and delicious meats is a way that we can take care of our bodies and also reconnect to the natural world that we live in. It makes us feel like we're really in sync with our bodies. And another thing I want to add, this also ties to movement. Like, getting to move is a big part of feminine energy. And, when you think of weightlifting, you don't always think feminine, but even hobbies like weightlifting and running can 100% be feminine, like based on your mindset when you do them. So like for me, I run, and that's not really a very feminine thing. But anything you do in life can actually be feminine and recharging if you do it from a place of love and like gratitude and divine power. So when I run, I do it from a feminine space. I listen to joyful music and I take deep breaths. I often close my eyes and I just focus on feeling in sync with my body. So working out, like having daily movement, that's very good for feminine energy. This episode has probably been so long, but those are all the things, all the tips I have for you to include feminine energy in your life. This is probably one of my favorite episodes. And for more on this, as I said, read Warrior Goddess Energy. It's really good. I like it a lot. And also read the Bible for some examples of powerful and divinely guided women. You think of Rebecca from the Bible. I really hope I have that right. There's that scene where Rebecca brings out all of the water, and she brings out water for every single one of the camels for, I believe it was Isaac's servant. I could be really wrong about that, and I'd be so embarrassed if it was wrong. But all I know is she definitely, she went out of her way to show love by watering each of the camels. And there were a lot of camels in the Bible. And that was just such a beautiful example to me, of a woman who is really operating from a place of love. And she got the guy in the end because she went out of her way to show love. So I think that that's something beautiful. The Bible definitely has a lot of strong, powerful women. Yes, there are women who do stumble in the Bible, like Sarah had some issues with showing faith to God, like she didn't believe she could have a child after a certain age. So not every woman in the Bible is like this divine thing that you should try to be. You don't want to emulate Sarah's energy of not being faithful towards God. But there are a lot of women in the Bible who do emulate that strong, powerful feminine energy, and I think that that's amazing. I could make a million episodes on this, so if you want any more episodes on femininity, just let me know. So you can follow my Instagram at Personal Growth Project Official for episode teasers. You can follow my Twitter at Avigail Lang. I tweet on there all the time. I have so much fun just sharing with people that I love on there. And you can also follow my blog on Substack. So I post nightly blog posts just updating you on my day. It feels like you're getting emails from a friend. I love writing the blog posts. It is a very feminine activity, actually. And so if you just want to feel like you're working with a friend who's helping you improve your life, my blog posts are there for you. I'll put all the links to everything below. And also, if you want to know what I'm reading, I always put my Goodreads below, so you can read books with me. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you all have a wonderful week.